Well, with that, we are going to start off with some big breaking news which is coming in regarding the Waqf law. In fact, viewers, imagine you purchase a land legally over 2 decades ago, but suddenly someone comes along and claims it as their own. You'd be crossed, right? You'd wonder how that can happen when you paid good money to acquire this. Well, this is exactly what happened to thousands of people in Hyderabad's Boddupalli area. In fact, they, like lakhs of other people in the country, are now victims of the Waqf Loot. Well, Times now has gone to the ground and we unearthed an attempt by the Waqf board to claim residence land. Almost 50,000 people are fearing eviction after being told by the Waqf board that their 300 acres of land belongs to them. In fact, the residents say that they have proof that this is a Patta land since 1950s, but out of the blue, in 2018, the Waqf board turned and informed them that this land belongs to them. Let's just listen in to the people themselves, the victims of the Waqf land loot, as they call themselves, which exposes the alleged plot to loot.
Right now, we are being joined by the association here.
See, we are here in Boddupalli from decade. From 10 plus years we are here, and we purchased this land from taking every documents. Like all of the sudden in 2018 they have said like these lands belongs to Works board. It's unfortunate. We have fetched all the documents and all the Kasra Pahanis, and every document says it's a Patta land, it's not a Works land, but it's a GO 6A where they have mentioned it's a Works land and they have claimed it's a Works land. But we have all the genuine certificates. We have approached all the government bodies like collector and everyone. Even the collector recently has given a letter saying like it's not a works land.
Actually, this Waqf board effect in this area is happened in 2018 with oral instructions from one person. So it's not an organization, it's not from the Waqf board. One person claimed it is a Waqf board land by mentioning this 6A, Gazette 6A of 1989. So here in this 6A Gazette, so they mentioned around 31 survey numbers. The total extent is 300 acres, 19 guntas. So they claimed it as Waqf land.
एक बड़ा जोक है. अभी हमारे कलीग्स आपको बताए पेपर्स में पूरा डिटेल्स. मैं फिर से वो डिटेल में मैं नहीं जाना चाहता हूँ. मैं 17.5 years हो रहा था जब मैं कॉलोनी में आया. ये 5 fingers दिख रहे ना, ये 5 fingers में काउंट कर सकता था मैं घर कितने हैं. 1 2 3 4 5 6 घर काउंट कर सकते थे. तो मेरा बोलने का वही है, जब 17 साल पहले हम लोग इधर आए, SBI से लोन लेके घर बनाया बहुत मुश्किल से. हम लोग के माँ बाप जायदाद को नहीं छोड़े, काम करके घर बनाया. अगर ये वक्फ लैंड है, वो लैंड है, ये लैंड है, तो SBI लोन देता, अप्रूवल लैंड पे लोन देता. आज जो लोन लेके मेरा लोन खत्म हो गया, LRS एवरीथिंग पे करे. मेरा बोलने का कंसर्न क्या है, अगर ये वक्फ लैंड है, वो लैंड है, वो टाइम पे आप लोग क्या कर रहे थे? आप जब भी बोलते थे, जब फिंगर में गिन सकते थे 5-6 घर है, आज इतने 10,000 घर, 10,000 फैमिली सफर नहीं करते थे.
वो वक्फ बोर्ड है बोल के एक आदमी आके रजिस्टर ऑफिस में एक लेटर दिए, तो वो लेटर के ऊपर से उन्हें पूरा रजिस्ट्रेशन बयान कर दिए. सोल्ड आउट और खरीदना दोनों बंद कर दिए. ये एकदम बेकानूनी है. जो वक्फ बोर्ड का लैंड है, फिर 1947 से उनका लैंड रहे, तो उन्हें कहाँ गया, सो गए क्या इतना साल?
These are the heart-wrenching tales which are coming in. In fact, let me go across to Shomit. He's joining us live from Boddupalli. This is exactly where the alleged Waqf land loot has happened. We have a battery of our reporters. We also have with us Govind, who's joining us from Bhopal. We have Arpita joining us from Thiruvananthapuram. We have Varshini joining us from Chennai, and Harish joining us from outside the Supreme Court for the larger perspective on the Waqf Act. But first, I'm going to come across to you, Shomit. Shomit, legally speaking, how are these people who say that they have land, Patta land, since 1950 and they have evidence of this, how is the Waqf now suddenly coming in 2018 and saying that this land belongs to them? Have they reached out to the authorities? Have they taken this up legally so far?
Well, Meghna, very shocking case. Not just this one, but several cases. In several these kind of cases, Waqf Board is directly claiming these lands, and after releasing 89, 80, 89, 88, and 90 gazette pattas is what Waqf Board is claiming. And right now we are being joined by a few locals here, and they've been fighting this matter. They have taken this up legally, and right now we are reporting from one of the colonies, that is RNS colony, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and several other colonies, Purnodaya colony, Srisrai colony, several colonies, nearly 20 to 30 colonies are being claimed by Waqf Board. And initially, if Kiran, I'll ask Kiran to show some shots here. And roads department has given the clearance, electricity department has given the clearance, roads and registration and stamps department has given the clearance, municipal department has given the clearance. Even after all the departments of the government has after giving the clearance, Waqf Board suddenly jumped in and started claiming the land, even after they are having 54-55 Kasani Patta, which is the oldest records with the revenue department. So क्या यही पट्टा है क्या वो?
Yeah. These are the 31 survey numbers and 300 acres land was claimed by Waqf Board with the reference of Gazette 6A, which was released in 9 February 1989. But this Gazette was cancelled. It was put aside by government and court, High Court, multiple times. So in multiple writ petitions, court clearly said there is no evidence for this Gazette.
So there is no evidence. आप बताइए आपके पास क्या evidence है? What evidence do you have?
हम डॉक्यूमेंट बनाए से रजिस्टर करा दिए ये अपना उपल रजिस्ट्रेशन ऑफिस में.
आपका रजिस्टर्ड लैंड है पूरे?
रजिस्टर्ड है.
हाँ.
रजिस्टर होने के बावजूद भी ये लोग 2000 में आके फिर हमारा 2015 में आके हमारा वक्फ लैंड है, इसीलिए वो रजिस्टर नहीं होता.
कितने लोग रह रहे हैं यहाँ पे, कितने फैमिलीज है?
अराउंड 10,000 फैमिलीज अफेक्टेड है.
हाँ. आपके पास सारे क्लियरेंसेस है गवर्नमेंट इलेक्ट्रिसिटी डिपार्टमेंट?
सब क्लियरेंसेस है सब. इसमें टैक्स भी बना रहा हूँ. हम लेके अभी 25 साल हो गया और 30 साल से भी ले लिया. 95 से रजिस्ट्रेशन करा.
तो 25 साल से आप यहाँ पे है. आप कब से यहाँ पे है? वो 25 साल से यहाँ पे है, रिसेंटली वक्फ बोर्ड क्लेम कर रहा है. आप कब से यहाँ पे है?
मैं 20 ईयर्स हो गया.
ओके.
हाँ.
जब आपको पूरा क्लियरेंस मिला था?
हाँ, तो पूरा क्लियरेंस मिला.
फिर
इलेक्ट्रिसिटी बोर्ड म्यूनिसिपल परमिशन भी दिया. रोड बनाया. नाला कनेक्शन दिया. वाटर और ड्रेनेज ये सब अलग टैक्सेस भी बन रहे.
ओके.
हाँ. ये 18 से वक्फ बोर्ड बोल के रोक दिया.
So we have 1954-55 Kasar Pahani, and this is the oldest record with the revenue department, and this clearly says that this is the private land not owned by the Waqf Board. So this is that document, and they have the document with them, and there are around 33 31 survey numbers here, and total how many survey numbers, and what does Pahani say?
Total approximately 30 plus survey numbers.
Okay. And this is the document, right?
Yeah, this is the document from the 45 survey number to 130 survey number. So some in between some survey numbers are there, not there in the Waqf Board list, but from the 44 to 130 survey numbers.
So these are the survey numbers from 45. If we could see here, our VJ is clearly showing the document. Survey number 45 to 111 to 130 to an extent of 294 guntas. That is around 300 acres of land. And clearly this is Kasar Pahani, the oldest document with the revenue department, clearly shows that the Dastagarda and Pattedar. Who is the Pattedar here? Not Waqf Board. It's the Bommaku Balaya. And who does have the position here? It's the Bommaku Balaya. So clearly a private person was holding the oldest document. government, oldest revenue record, and also he was in the position, not the Waqf Board. But suddenly, like they were saying, Waqf Board jumped in after 2015, in 2018 and 19, they started claiming this, and he was staying here. आप 30 years से यहाँ पे है ना? From 30 years से staying
2009 से हिसाब है हम लोग 2009 में आंध्रा बैंक लोन लिया था, लीगल एडवाइस लीगली ले लिया था. लेने के बाद 19 में क्लोज हो गया, क्लोज भी हो गया, उसका क्लियरेंस सर्टिफिकेट भी ले लिया. फिर यहाँ रोड डाल रहे, डेवलपमेंट गवर्नमेंट का डेवलपमेंट जो है वो पूरा वो कर रहे. फिर सडनली 18-19 में आके ये वक्फ बोर्ड में आए बोले तो सब लोग परेशान है. क्या इसमें हम लोग हमारा पैसे से रिटायरमेंट होने के बाद वो पैसे से लोन लेके ये ले लिया. फिर लेने के बाद सडनली ये लोग आके हमारा बोले तो ये कैसा है, गवर्नमेंट चीट कर रहा है, नहीं तो ये वक्फ बोर्ड चीट कर रहा है.
आपके पास मेरे ख्याल से हाई कोर्ट के भी जजमेंट्स है. आई थिंक आपके पास मेरे ख्याल से आप हाई कोर्ट और लोअर कोर्ट भी अप्रोच किए और दूसरे कोर्ट्स भी अप्रोच किए. कहाँ पे अप्रोच किए और कहाँ से आपको क्लियरेंस मिला है?
चले ये हाई कोर्ट में ही दर्ज किए थे केस. हाई कोर्ट भी हमारा फेवर में आ गया. लेकिन गवर्नमेंट जो जीवो निकाला था ये बिल्कुल गलत निकाला है. ये 10,000 पीपल हाउस ओनर्स का ये मामला है. अराउंड 50,000 पीपल इफेक्टेड हो गए. देर आर सो मेनी पट्टादार्स इन अराउंड 300 acres of land. Then at least 1960 से ये लैंड पूरा पट्टा दिखा रहा है. कासरा में 1956 कासरा में भी पट्टादार दिखा रहा है. लेकिन how they have come in between this
Waqf Board, what is the proof Waqf Board has and on what basis they are claiming this land? क्या बेस पे क्लेम कर रहे हैं?
They don't have any papers. Just they are informed the registrar office that you stop the registration so and so survey numbers until we told again.
So अभी आप कितने साल से यहाँ रह रहे हैं और वक्फ बोर्ड के पास क्या बेसिस पे क्लेम कर रहे हैं? आपके पास हाई कोर्ट का भी जजमेंट है.
मैं एक कॉलोनी में आरएनएस कॉलोनी फेज 3 में अराउंड 19 ईयर्स हुआ आके. जब मैं आया था यहाँ पर हार्डली फिंगर्स में काउंट कर सकते थे घर. अभी तो ऑलमोस्ट 10,000 फैमिलीज है.
तो
आप हाँ, आप आजू बाजू कैमरा रन कर लीजिए. ये वो टाइम पे यहाँ कुछ भी नहीं था. मेरा बोलने का मतलब क्या है, ये जो पेपर्स है हमारे पास वो A to Z परफेक्ट है.
तो आपके पास पेपर्स परफेक्ट है. अभी हम देख सकते हैं दिस एंटायर कॉलोनी, नॉट जस्ट आरएनएस बट सेवरल कॉलोनीज, नियरली 20 colonies are being claimed by the Waqf Board, and even after having the High Court judgment, they are helpless to even sell their residences or even even give those residences for
10,000 people are now being affected by this alleged Waqf Loot, and they are saying kagaz hum dikhayenge. They are showing us the papers. You can see that on your screens, and yet they face this loot. Let me go across to Harish. Harish, all of this is very significant because these ground reports done by Times Now and our reporters essentially is happening at a time when the Supreme Court itself is hearing several petitions which have challenged the constitutionality of the Waqf Amendment Bill. In fact, it's interesting to see there were tough posers which the Supreme Court had also put to the petitioners as well as to the government.
Yes, that's right, Meghna. In fact, we have to remember that at a time when the Supreme Court was about to, in fact, stay three crucial clauses in the Waqf Amendment Act, the centre itself had saved its face by assuring that certain clauses will not be implemented, like the one what is being discussed. Supreme Court was very unhappy that Waqf by user was removed, but Supreme Court asked, there were several Waqf properties, 100 to 200-year-old, more than that, even some of them were before the British came to India. How can you suddenly ask documents, and also how can you rewrite the past? And even Waqf is an essential part of Islam and basic facet of Muslim law. Supreme Court observed and said, suddenly you can't implement this and in the order, in fact, persuaded the Solicitor General Tushar Mehta for Centre to agree to give an assurance that no Waqf declared by the court, gazetted or already registered will not be denotified. Number one, Supreme Court asked whether a Muslim member will be taken, made a member of any Hindu endowment board or a temple. So the Solicitor Tushar Mehta said that, gave an assurance that no non-Muslim member will be appointed in any Central Waqf Council or any state Waqf board. These two assurances have been given by the centre. And regarding supreme power for collector, the Supreme Court in fact asked how can the Prophecy found merit in the argument of Kapil Sibal that how can the government become both litigant and a judge. Therefore, collector should not have the supreme power because he will definitely side with the government. So the Supreme Court said that even that has to be looked into because a collector cannot be the person adjudicating the disputes where there is a dispute between the government and the Muslim individual and where it's suspected that it's a government land. So, as you rightly said, Supreme Court was in mood to tweak some of the clauses and also say at this juncture the government has given some assurance that two or three clauses will be put on hold, and the centre's response has been sought within 1 week. That is by this coming Friday.
Yes, we are waiting for the 1 week when there is status quo which is going to be there as ordered by the Supreme Court. Stay with us. Let me go across to Mr. A. Saravanan, who's joining us off the DMK. Mr. Saravanan, and this is something which has happened in your state of Tamil Nadu as well, where there have been alleged rampant Waqf loot. And we are here reporting on another similar example which is coming in from Hyderabad as well. This continues. This is the requirement, as the people on the ground are saying, those who say that they are victims of the Waqf land loot. They say this is the reason why we need a strong act. Why challenge it?
See, everything is a lie. Our leader, Mr. A. Raja, exposed the lies of Mr. Kiran Rijiju inside the parliament. When he said that a similar exposed, they said in somewhere in Ramanathapuram, a village, entire village has been claimed by Waqf. It was debunked. The BJP thrives on lies. And it is not that it is something which is intractable. If there is any dispute, let the civil court decide.
But it's not going to be the BJP deciding on these disputes, Mr. A. Saravanan, as you know very well. It will go to the courts. And that's what the new act hopes to reform, that the courts get to decide.
See, we are living in a constitutional democracy. A constitutional democracy means a title of any property will have to be decided by a competent civil court.
Yes.
Some collector sitting in an office cannot decide on title disputes. That is a challenge, and that is the reason.
The CJI-led bench is already looking into that aspect, and that is pending. It's sub judice right now.
That's what I'm saying. This is not about individual cases. This is about democracy at large. This is about the rule of law at large. We cannot have one set of procedures to decide the issues relating to a particular religion or the religious properties. That is the reason why we opposed it. Can a similar modest...
So your opposition will continue despite the fact that it's currently in the Supreme Court? If the Supreme Court gives it a green flag, will you still oppose it?
See, democracy operates in different spheres.
You dodged my question.
Yes, that's what. The Supreme Court has now stayed 3 contentious provisions. And these are the reasons.
That was a yes or no, but Mr. Saravanan, it's very telling that you've dodged my question. You didn't say that, yes, I will accept what the Supreme Court says, but we leave it there. Thank you so much. I appreciate you joining us here on Times Now. Let me go across to Arpita. She's joining us from Thiruvananthapuram, and Munambam is one of the areas that Times Now's reporters had extensively gotten us ground reports where there was massive alleged land loot, and there was resonation of our ground reports on the floor of the parliament as well. Arpita, today there is yet another similar instance which is coming to light. What about the people in Munandam? One good thing about it is where we saw communities, even the Christian community, come together to fight for those in the Muslim community who felt that their lands were being forcibly grabbed.
Well, rightly said, Meghna. Munambam residents, Munambam issue is one such issue that was time and again spoken about in the parliament, and now finally when the bill was passed, Munambam residents were very happy that in 2019, remember, the Waqf board had claimed that their land that they have been staying for decades have been claimed by the Waqf board, and after that they had started protesting against this order that Waqf board had given. After which, after so many days of protest, they were very happy that the bill was passed, and they were relieved that now finally they will get some justice. Remember, Union Minister Kiran Rijiju also visited Munambam residents. He also gave assurance to Munambam residents that BJP will stay with them till they get justice. So that is the hope they are still staying with. Now they are hoping that soon the revenue rights that they deserve will get to them, and they are hoping that the assurance that Union Minister has given will be fulfilled by the BJP. Now the Munambam residents are very happy that at least BJP is in support of the residents, because the residents had urged, in fact the Catholic community had also come forward and urged all the MPs to vote in favor of the bill, but in Kerala, other than the BJP MP Suresh Gopi, none of them voted for it. So they were very upset that CPM and Congress let the residents down. But they're also happy that BJP was one party which stood by them from day one.
Well, absolutely. In fact, we've seen these political fights breaking out over the alleged Waqf Loot across in Tamil Nadu as well, as we were just discussing. Syed Hafiz is joining us, a DMK spokesperson. Syed Hafiz, we're just playing out this ground report where we can see there are people who are saying, Kagaz hum dikhate hain. They are showing us land deals. Some of it goes all the way back to 1950s, and it was only in 2018 when the Waqf has now stepped in, saying that this entire 10-kilometer stretch belongs to us, trying to grab this land. Would your party stand up for people like these, victims such as this? Syed Hafiz. Well, we'll try and reconnect, but let me go across to Varshini, who's also joining us from Chennai. Varshini, the Tamil Nadu government has taken a very strong stand when it comes to the Waqf. There's a resolution also passed in the assembly against it. After the Supreme Court has given a bit of a rap and has raised some very valid questions, will the DMK and Congress continue to oppose it? Are they still doing it, or are they taking the Supreme Court's advice to also publicize the positive aspects of the Waqf Act?
Well, absolutely, yes. Like you mentioned, there was a anti-Waqf amendment bill that was as a resolution that was passed in the Tamil Nadu State Assembly. It was unanimously accepted and passed in the State Assembly, except for the BJP that walked out of the Assembly. And what is also important to note is one side, when the DMK and the ruling government and all the alliance partners, as well as the opposition party like AIDMK, which stood for going to the Supreme Court, taking legal action and fighting against this bill. There are villages, a couple of villages in fact in Tamil Nadu, one in Tiruchirappalli district of Tiruchendurai village, which we saw a few years ago. The Waqf came and claimed that the entire village belongs to them. Almost 300 families living there, including a 1,500-year-old temple. The Waqf claimed it was theirs. And that fight has been ongoing for the past few years. And now we are seeing another village called Kattakolai in Vellore district of Tamil Nadu, which again is being claimed by the Waqf, saying that almost 150 plus families live there. And all of these people are natives of these villages. They've been living for, 4-5 generations there. So the question is, how are they going to protect their own people from the Waqf board and restore their lands and give them
state governments have taken a very strong stand against the Waqf Act, but how will they protect their own people? Very valid point that Varshini is raising. Let me quickly go across to Govind, joining us live from Bhopal. Madhya Pradesh is very significant, Govind, because the first action under this new Waqf Act was taken in the city of Patta, where an illegal mosque was brought down. It was constructed 20 years back illegally. It had encroached upon on the land of a man from the Muslim community itself. So this is a perfect example to show that this is not anti-Muslim, as is the narrative which is being built, because this was a land which belonged to a Muslim man. He is the one who had complained against it.
Yeah, absolutely, Meghna. On this issue, we have witnessed, in fact, lots of political convulsion there at the center of our nation in Madhya Pradesh too. You know that after signing signature of the president, this amendment bill will turn to be the law now. But even after that, number of controversies coming across the nation. In fact, so in Bhopal, surprisingly, Waqf, in fact, making the claim that PHQ, police headquarters, is on the land of Waqf property, and many such claims they are just making, that many police stations are also running on the Waqf property. So these controversial facts and figures also coming out there in Madhya Pradesh too. You know, recently the Waqf president of Indore has been noticed yesterday by Madhya Pradesh Waqf Board for the recovery of 1 crore 19 lakh rupees. So these are the controversies also connecting to the center of the nation, Madhya Pradesh, with this controversy. So definitely we are witnessing different case studies from south to north, and here in central India, a number of such controversies. And Sanva Patel, who is the president of Waqf Board in Madhya Pradesh, also making many claims that many cases are still in the court, and you know that there are 15,000 Waqf properties in Madhya Pradesh overall.
15,000 Waqf properties in Madhya Pradesh, and one of the points which was raised during the Waqf debates in the parliament is, why are the Muslim community still very poor despite the immense amount of assets and wealth which is there with the local Waqf boards? Meanwhile, we leave it there. Thank you so much, all our battery of reporters who have joined us from across the length and breadth of the country. This is going to be one of our top focus stories. Times Now's ground reportage and the facts on the ground is going to be dominating our coverage. With that, a short break. Stay tuned.